Hi, it's Laura Baker. This is my reflection for Lead Transformative Change. I completed this course in the summer of 2026, June and July. So to reflect, throughout this course we participated in a variety of exercises and assignments around transformative leadership. The 3 discussion board posts that we started with for The Obstacle is the Way really helped me to get to know my classmates and really understand the discussion board expectations at the doctoral level versus master's degree level. The 4 synopses we completed for Obstacle is the Way, Switch, Reset, and Culture Code helped me to summarize those books into actual practical tools that I can use and to look back on in the future for quick information and visuals of each chapter. Throughout those assignments, I learned how to better use Canva because I started using that after the first assignment when I was struggling to be creative in PowerPoint. The 4 past to present assignments helped me to learn how to compare journal articles to books and to find the similarities and differences and to really begin learning how to synthesize across resources, which is a new skill for me, and to really think about the leadership styles as well. I chose to connect The Obstacle is the Way with adaptive leadership style, and then the Switch and Reset books with authentic leadership, and the Culture Code with servant leadership. The 4 strategies for motivating your team assignment provided an opportunity to pitch a personal change. So for me, I pitched changing e-learning content or watching a bunch of videos to more of a train the trainer type of assessment of current students in my program. So they would actually put together a 5 or 10-minute presentation on a topic that they learned about to give to their peers to assess learning. The Ideas to Action assignment from the Culture Code provided an opportunity to really figure out how to apply practical advice from this book into actionable steps at work. And the Change Model Graphic Organizer provided a great way to compare different change management models. It'll again be a great resource to look back in the future on to reflect and compare those different models together. The Leading Change Proposal assignment provided a comprehensive way to incorporate all of those books and concepts learned for an actual proposed change at VA. I proposed to allow telework or remote work for 2 very select groups of individuals based on efficiency and reducing government waste, with the side benefit of increasing employee morale. The book, The Obstacle is the Way, provided a motivational lens for really tackling problems with positivity. Chapters like Control Your Emotions, Get Moving, and Perseverance helped me think about being more professional as a leader and pushing through the problems to affect change. Both of these books, Switch and Reset, provide practical tools for managing transformational change in my organization. With my employees, I particularly need to find the feeling and tap motivation because morale is very low in general at the VA and anxiety is very high. There's a lot of organizational changes going on and restructuring going on. The Culture Code book provided very many practical ideas for creating these high-performing teams in the workplace. I really believe 2 key concepts from that will be important, including AARs and developing catchphrases. So with the AARs, allowing my team members the space to analyze after events, especially training events and conferences, I think will be helpful to them and give them a sense of control. They can think about what went well, what didn't go well, and what they'd like to change in the future. Developing some catchphrases for ourselves, I think, can bring positivity to our work and create a shared sense of purpose, understanding, and vision. The ebook, Leadership in Complexity and Change, provided me with a lens and many tools to view change within VA, which is definitely the definition of a complex system. I appreciated most of the basic concepts that the book started with, and the one that I really want to talk about is shifting from change to changing. So that's something that I really need to work on with reframing my view of change at work, especially at VA. It is constant and it is ever evolving from day to day, minute to minute sometimes. And my attitude shift can really help me help my employees. As a transformational leader, I am in charge of affecting change, implementing changes that are passed down to me, and supporting my employees both emotionally and professionally to adapt to change. So each of these toolkits and toolboxes we created to go along with these books, I think will be helpful in moving forward. Thinking about what's compelling to me, well, I really enjoyed putting the concepts into practice with the 4 strategies for motivating your team and leading change proposals. The 4 strategies assignment is something that I actually did implement at work recently, and the leading change proposal is aspirational. But what was helpful was applying change and the thought processes to my personal work at VA. It's hard to envision change in an industry or a job that you're not familiar with. I appreciated applying everything to my current job and environment and climate to better understand it. Out of all of these books, The Culture Code was the most compelling to me. It was easy to read, and I could immediately see practical applications of many of the concepts. The ideas to action sections were particularly useful, and the other books were just not as clearly organized in that practical way. One of the things to discuss that scared me when I came into this program was all of the reading assignments. I am not a read for pleasure kind of person. I read solely for information in life, and I usually scan. So I am not a fast reader. I often have to read things multiple times to really absorb the information. And with this accelerated timeline in this course, I can't believe that I just read and digested 5 books and lots of journal articles that I can't count this summer. It really changed and challenged my brain and my mind to think beyond what seems like a personal limitation and really push forward toward my goal. The way that this particular course was designed, we compared books to each other. We compared articles to books. We compared experiences to articles and books. And that really helped me start developing critical thinking skills. And the art or the skill of synthesis that everyone talks about is, I believe, indirectly introduced in the past to present assignments specifically in how they're organized. And I really appreciated that purposeful scaffolding of the introduction to synthesis without, having to really think about what I was doing. So the final question on all of these reflections really asked us to keep adding to the definition of transformative leadership, which is an ever-evolving concept. And I believe that this will be helpful as I redefine throughout this entire program what transformative leadership is. For future research, one of the things that I was fascinated by and discovering in this course was Bridges' transformational model. And when I looked into it more, I really see how it can apply to social work and counseling contexts, which is one of my backgrounds, especially within thinking about life chapters, the seasons of a person's life, and changing habits with people as well. And in higher education, the new beginning happens after graduation, and students enter into the real world, into their first job. I think it would be interesting and fascinating to use this framework to research both the students that I deal with in leadership development and how they implement their next chapter, which is senior leadership, or in those higher education settings, like I said, with new jobs. ADKAR is also widely touted in the VA as the model of choice, but in my reflection from my vantage point, I rarely see it used in action. So I think there's real potential for using the ADKAR model at VA to implement change and see how effective it can be by collecting data and analyzing the change process. The books in this course really helps me to think about change from a more positive perspective. Specifically, I like The Obstacle is the Way. It was completely inspiring to think about dealing with problems head on with confidence. Almost all the chapters had a positive title and were written from that author's voice of encouragement. The assignments and papers in this course were all about transforming the way we think about change, leadership, and ourselves personally. Each assignment really pushed us, or pushed me, to read more thoroughly, think more critically, and write more analytically. With all the tools we learned in the course, diversity was a theme interwoven throughout everything, the books, the assignments, the discussions, because we have to keep in mind diverse perspectives, diverse stakeholders, and introduce diverse methods of managing change. Listening to the voices of all of our employees, practicing empathy and emotional intelligence when managing change helps us really advocate for each other, because change is hard and everyone deals with it differently. But as leaders, we have to help for and advocate for each other. Thanks for listening. I will see you in the next reflection.